There are some fashion pieces that we inevitably regret buying, and today I'm sharing what those pieces are to help you avoid falling into that trap ever again. Hi, I'm Leonie and welcome to my channel. Now, I was recently watching a video here on YouTube and I had a real mic drop moment when I was watching it. It was by the lovely creator Christina Mychas. I will leave her video or a link to her video in the description box below. But I had a mic drop moment because she talked about buying pieces for your fantasy self, and that just resonated with me. I mean, I have a fantasy version of myself, that version of me that I would perhaps like to present to the world, but it doesn't suit my lifestyle or my budget or my fashion sense. But it's that fantasy lifestyle or that fantasy self that we often get caught up in buying and shopping for. And so that is basically why I decided to create today's episode. There were lots of things that I wanted to add to the list, so here I am doing that today. As I said, I'll leave a link to Christina's video in the description box below so you can go and check that out, because what she says is fabulous. So anyway, let's get on with these items or clothing pieces that I definitely think if we buy them, we will regret them. So you don't have to agree with everything I say here, and you obviously can pick and choose which pieces work or don't work for you, but these are the pieces that I believe definitely most of us regret buying. Now, first up are the pieces that we buy as a form of therapy. Now, I'm sure many of you can relate to that feeling of perhaps you're not having a great day or you're not feeling overly happy and you go shopping and you use shopping as therapy. Generally speaking, these pieces are not particularly well thought out. They're not pieces that we've spent a lot of time thinking about whether they'll go with other items that we own. So these shopping for therapy pieces are ones that generally just tend to sit in our wardrobes and not get worn. So be very careful when you're not feeling that great and you're heading out shopping and shopping becomes a little bit of therapy. It's never generally a shopping excursion that ends well. So maybe make it a window shopping experience and meet up with a friend for a coffee and a chat as a bit of a feel good, but beware of those pieces that you buy when you're feeling a little low. Now, next up is the designer trap, and that is simply buying pieces because they're a well-known label or brand, or because that particular label has a little bit of hype around it. It's very easy to get caught in the trap of thinking that because it's a well-known brand, that it's going to suit you or be better quality or work for you better. So you potentially go out on a limb, spend more money than you would like to, and you're never actually happy with that item. So be careful not to get caught in that designer label trap. There's a lot of talk here on YouTube about capsule wardrobes and buying essentials and buying quality essentials, and I'm all here for that, but I do think it's really important not to get caught in the trap of buying someone else's essentials. So pieces that you see influencers or YouTubers or some of your friends, if they are buying certain pieces as essentials, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the right essentials for you. An essential for me, for example, is a denim jacket, but a denim jacket may not suit everyone's style. So while it's an essential for me, it's not necessarily an essential for you. So be really careful not to be overly influenced by the wrong influences, so people's personal style that doesn't suit your own. Now, I'm a big fan of baseball caps and hats in general. I just love them, and I do tend to pick up a hat when I'm somewhere new. It's almost a little bit of a collector's thing for me, but it did get me thinking that I have a ton of baseball caps that I hardly ever wear. And so hats are also one of those items that you can buy too many or own too many and you just don't get that cost per wear. So really think twice about the hats that you own, and if you see a hat that you particularly love, do you really need it? How practical is it going to be? Have you already got hats that you wear and love Just think about hats. They're not something that most of us tend to wear all the time, so there is a limit to how many of them that you actually need. So just proceed with caution when it comes to hats. Another fashion item that I will never buy, and I also think that we generally regret buying these pieces, is the pieces that we really love when we try them on, but we know they're going to be high maintenance to care for. And I recently fell into this trap myself. I bought some cargo pants. In fact, I hadn't tried them on. I bought them online from overseas. When they arrived, they were made of that fabric that just attracts lint. So they're black cargo pants, but they always have little white pieces of lint or pet fur, or they just seem to be a magnet. That's something I wouldn't have been able to tell when I purchased them online, but honestly, if I had seen these in store and tried them on, even though they fit perfectly and they look great, they're a great style, they fit my lifestyle, they're high maintenance pants. So be really aware of pieces that you may try on, whether they require regular steaming or ironing. If you're fine with that, then great. But if, like me, you would rather your pieces be low maintenance, be really aware not to fall into the trap of buying them. And at this point, I just wanted to say a very big thank you to the team at Gingerberry for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Now, I've worked with Gingerberry in the past and tend to wear a lot of their pieces regularly. I absolutely love their quality. And one of the great things about the brand, if you haven't heard of them before, is that they have a price point for every budget. So some of their pieces are 18 karat gold plated and others are solid 18 karat gold. So there really is something for everyone. I'm also delighted today to share a discount code with you, and that is to save 15% off anything on the Gingerberry website, and that code is simply STYLE15. I will leave that linked in the description box below to make it easy for you. I'll also link all of the products that I've recently picked up and I'll be featuring in today's episode. So let's just get onto that so you can see some of my favorites. But I am wearing a couple of them, these little sparkly earrings, which I'm absolutely loving. I don't tend to wear a lot of sparkle, so it was kind of nice to add something a little fresh and sparkly to my lineup. I also absolutely love this chain, this necklace. I love it for a couple of reasons. It's giving a nod to the chunky chain, sort of statement chain trend, but it's also got a kind of invisible clasp. So the clasp is actually exactly the same as these little links here. So you can wear it and basically you can't ever see where the clasp is. So if you know how necklaces can sometimes kind of slide around and then you can see the clasp sitting at the side here, which does tend to happen to me from time to time. Well, that doesn't happen with this necklace because the clasp is basically invisible. So I love that aspect of it. And I love the fact that it's a nod to the statement necklace trend, but it's not too chunky, I suppose. But let me share some of the pieces that I am loving and wearing from Gingerberry right now. Okay, these earrings are my absolute faves. They are Aurora pearls and I just find them really elegant. They are modern, and fun fact, you can actually detach the tassel with the pearls on and you end up with a pearl stud that you can wear on its own. I also think these earrings look especially nice with your hair up, and I love the versatility. I have a beautiful drop earring or a simple stud. Now this one is absolutely timeless. It's an Akoya pearl necklace and it is on a gold vermeil chain. I've teamed it here with one of my original Gingerberry necklaces, which I don't think I've taken off since the day that I got this one. I absolutely love it, and I love this simple combination worn together. The great thing about most of the Gingerberry necklaces is that you can change up the length as well, so it's very easy for layering. Now, while pearls are actually having a fashion moment right now, they are a timeless classic. And I love the fact that you can wear them dressed up or more casually as I'm wearing them here, just making a very simple outfit look a little bit more polished. Now, I absolutely love this set. It is a beautiful necklace with matching bracelet, and this is super versatile. Now, what you can do with this particular necklace, as you can see here, is it's quite long, so you can wrap it around twice. You can wear it long,
Also, it can be attached to the chain that I'm wearing in today's episode, and you can wrap it around 3 times. It's just really versatile, and as you can see here, a beautiful modern take on a classic string of pearls. And I absolutely love this Sequoia pearl necklace. It is called a mini light bulb. It's a high luster, clean blue overtune pearl, which is why it's so pretty. You can also adjust where the blue pearl sits by pulling the chain through the little gold ball, so it's super versatile piece.
Another item that we generally regret buying is those pieces that when you're in a dressing room at a store, you try something on and you find yourself umming and ahhing about it. You're not quite sure whether it's right or it's 90% right, but not 100. Those pieces you need to walk away from, because quite often when they're almost right, we're tempted to buy them because we fear that we're not going to find anything that's any better. But generally speaking, those pieces we never feel great about. So what I always say is, if you don't absolutely love something when you try it on and it fits well and it makes you feel great from the minute you put it on, then don't buy it. It's too likely that this is going to be one of those pieces that you will regret buying. So unless you're 100% on it, don't do it. Now, when it comes to regrets, one of the things that we often say, and I find myself saying it here on YouTube as well, is to, when you find something you love, buy it in a few different colors. But this is also potentially a trap. When I go shopping with women, they will often they'll walk into a store and they'll be drawn to the same pieces, store after store after store. And then when I look in their wardrobes, they have a lot of pieces that are very similar. And these are the pieces that we find comfortable to shop for. We find they work for us, but we end up having too many of the same items in our closet. They're all taking up a lot of space, but we really only need maybe a quarter of those similar pieces. But every time we go into store, we are drawn to, whether it's Breton striped tees or whatever it is that is the kryptonite for you. We all have those pieces, but it's really important to look at how many of those pieces do you really need and how many of those pieces do you really wear. So be very careful not to fall into the trap of always buying a similar type of item. It's very easy to do, but you don't need them all. Now, this one almost goes without saying, but I am going to include it because often we buy occasion wear and evening wear pieces that we absolutely love, we spend quite a bit of money on, but they sit in our closets and very rarely get worn. And I do think we need to think twice about these pieces. There are so many rental places around these days, and maybe renting a piece, yes, you don't get to keep it at the end of the day, but equally, it's potentially more affordable to rent than it is to buy a piece new. And you don't have that piece hanging in your wardrobe, taking up prime real estate, and also being wasted money because you just don't get that cost per wear out of those pieces. So think about some of those occasion wear pieces and have a little think and see if you could potentially be better off renting them. Trying something on and loving it is one thing, and often it's hard to come by that experience when you try something on and you immediately fall in love with it. And sometimes when this happens, you buy that piece, but you haven't actually thought about whether it suits your lifestyle. So again, it's a little bit like buying for your fantasy self. So something may look great on you and it fits perfectly and you absolutely love it, but if it doesn't suit your lifestyle, you're not going to get that wear out of it. So even though it's a winner, it's not really ultimately going to be a winner for you. It's more likely to be a regret. So definitely think about that and not get swept up in the excitement of putting something on in the changing room that does look amazing, but you really know in your heart of hearts that you're not going to get that wear out of it. Now, one thing that we often do when we're decluttering or just clearing out our closet for the new season, which I'm sure many of you will have recently done, or perhaps you're planning to do that, one of the things that we often do is we might come across something that hasn't quite worn out or doesn't really need to be donated. It's still got some life in it, and then we say to ourselves, we can't bear to part with it, so let's just keep it. We'll keep it in there and wear it around the house. Let's have it as a wear around the house piece. Now, in theory, this can kind of work, but I don't like it. Now, the reason I don't like this way of thinking is because why wear your B-rate clothes or B-grade clothes around the house? Why not wear the pieces that make you feel great every day? Why set yourself up for a day where you're not going to feel the best version of yourself? So don't hold on to those pieces that have seen better days or really are kind of B-list pieces. Make sure that they are out of your closet. You don't want to be wearing those just to sort of be frumpy around the house. Have some pieces that are A-list pieces to relax in. Don't let yourself down and relegate yourself to wearing those pieces. So if you have that kind of train of thought when you're clearing out and decluttering that you will keep something just to wear around the house, just don't. Now, some of the other regrets that we often have are pieces that we've bought on sale. So I always proceed with caution when there is a sale happening because I know that I'm extra tempted to buy something because it's cheap or it's at a hugely discounted price. I generally only buy pieces on sale that I've perhaps had on my wish list and I've had my eyes on for a long time, waiting and hoping that they'll go on sale, not pieces that I sort of stumble upon and realize that they are reduced, because generally we don't make a rash decision at those times. We get so easily swept up in saving money and it being a bargain and how great is it to save money, and we can easily make some bad decisions when that's the case. So I always say proceed really carefully when it comes to buying sale items. And more than ever, that's the time you need to ask yourself some really hard questions and think about how many outfits you could create with this item. Do you have something similar that you own already so you don't really need it? Ask yourself some of those hard questions before you get too influenced and go off and spend money unnecessarily. And this one is an interesting one because I read about it. I think I was reading an article in Vogue recently, and it talked about people that sew and crafty people that sew their own clothes. I do wish that I was that sort of person, but quite often they don't like their own creations. And so the story talked about being okay with that and not beating yourself up or not trying too hard to love the pieces that you make yourself. It is okay. You can still enjoy creating clothing and sewing, but you don't necessarily have to love those pieces that you create. Maybe sew for someone else, a family member or a friend, and create pieces for them. If you find yourself falling into the trap of loving to sew, but never generally wearing the pieces that you make yourself, maybe find someone else that you know will love them. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, I'd love you to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. Oh, and also don't forget to take advantage of that Gingerberry discount code. It is a real goodie, and it's not just a code to save on the pieces that I've featured in today's episode. It is to save on anything on the Gingerberry website. So as I said earlier, I will link all of the pieces that I have featured in today's episode down below, and whip on over, take a look at their website, and the discount code applies to everything there. So anyway, thank you again for watching, and I've really had fun with this one. And please let me know in the comments below, can you relate to any of these fashion regrets? And if you have others that I haven't touched on, I'd love to hear about them too. But thank you for watching, and I will see you real soon. Bye for now.